thoughts, anything you'd like to share about any of the conversations you've made? The last few?
Well, giving somebody a compliment of their service, I could tell, he said, thank you for the compliment.
Shortage of love and attention in this world.
Yeah.
For sure. Plus, initially you thought, who do I know? But then when you actually thought about it, you realized you did. So
Yeah.
I think that it's just really valuable. You know, we plant these little seeds and you just start looking through that lens as you're out and about in your everyday life. You're going to find, plenty of people. And again, just like most things in life, there's a positive to every negative. We're always complaining about people not responding and showing up, et cetera, dropping the ball, and the Maui time and this and that. But that means that we can do a super good job for people, be very responsive and stand out, amongst the crowd. So when you find service providers that also manage the business that way, bring them into the fold, because it's going to help us to service our clients, our customers, and in our own lives as well. So we can all teamwork on that way. Do you have a good experience or anything you'd like to share?
Not really.
Okay, that's all
I
right.
talked to a couple people and they said, oh, of course.
Okay, that's good. One of the things I mentioned before too is when you do run into someone that does a very good job for you, understand the power that they have to refer business to you. And so if you have determined that they give great service and that you would be willing to put your name to that business or that person, then I want to see you start developing a relationship for cross endorsements. Okay? And it might not be time yet. I'm just planting. There's a seed. Just stick it right here, right? Because I know you're all new agents and you can only extend yourself so far. But that's where that's going to go. That's why it's so valuable and important that you keep your antennas open and looking for people that can help you to grow your business while you help to grow theirs. It's a great way to go. Referrals are the best way by far. They're the least expensive. You're not breaking down those huge walls, right? Because they have been referred by someone that has credibility with them and that they trust. Okay, so it's really, really an important thing. Okay, we're on page 11 and I can't see. Getting our head in the game, the journey. So let's talk about some of these statistics. The typical home buyer searched for 10 weeks and viewed 10 homes. It takes a while and it's easy to just take people out touring, but when we do a good job of qualifying the home and of qualifying the buyer, we don't have to show them a million homes. Okay? You want to have your average be under 10, and it will come quickly when you make sure to go through the process properly. 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. So for an old timer like me, I've had to get with the program. Oh my gosh, this business has completely changed. But that's a beautiful thing too, because you're going to have relationships with buyers. They're going to help you to help them. And there'll be times when they call and say, I have this great house, I really like it, and you're going to end up selling it to them and they found it on their own. So that's a beautiful thing, and you want to help them. Of course, you want them to search for homes online through your branded KW app. You all have that on your phones now? Mm-hmm. Okay, beautiful. That's beautiful. Another great thing about it is that now, we have on the back end the ability to see. I have a client that I got noticed this morning that she was on my site looking at homes. So oftentimes that makes it.
How did you get a notice?
Let's see, I must have put it in my.
Is it in your settings?
Yeah, in my settings.
Through the app you got the notice?
On my email.
Okay.
Yeah, on my email, and it says that she's, viewing homes right now. So that's a great thing. First off, it was very early in the morning. She's a doctor here at Maui Memorial, and I thought, oh, she's up. If I wanted to, I could text her or call her, which is a great thing. But just knowing that this is on her mind today, she's actually waiting for her home to sell on Oahu. Trying to be patient, but it hasn't sold in a few months, and so as soon as it does sell, she's excited and anxious to purchase. But she has a busy life, so I get these notices every now and then. I send new things for her to look at, but knowing now that she's been thinking about this morning, I'm going to touch bases in some way with her today. And it just helps reinforce my relationship. So you definitely want to give out your, have a goal to give out your consumer app every day. 50% of buyers use a mobile website or application in their home search. 98% of buyers who used an agent viewed real estate agents as a useful information source. Did you know that almost, I don't want to quote the wrong number, but a high number, I think 78% of clients believe that their agent did a great job for them. But dang it, they can't remember their name because they never followed up and stayed in touch. So again, set yourself apart. Most agents don't follow through like they should. And instead of mining the gold mine, they're out working just as hard as day one, searching for new people. It just doesn't have to be that way. So. More than 50% of buyers reported finding the right home was the most difficult step in the home buying process. It's kind of like naming your children, right? We thought it'd be fun, and that turns out to be a little more difficult than that. So in helping them and staying close to them through the process, it helps them to move forward. 24% of recent home buyers reported the primary reason for the recent home purchase was a desire to own a home. 9% purchased a new home due to a job-related relocation or move. And 8% bought for the desire to be in a better area or for a change in family situation. More kids, fewer kids, etc. So, what does that tell you? Is there anything that jumps out?
Motivation.
Motivation's a big deal, right? Yeah, no question about it. Page 13, make it happen, working with buyers. So, walking through these one at a time. Truth, 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search process. So, one of the first things you want to do after you've met with them and kind of narrow down the search, you don't want to be too strict. It's just like anything with computers. If you have too strict a criteria, sometimes you can miss something great. Which gets back to that old adage of buyers are liars and so are sellers. Now it sounds kind of silly, but I can't tell you how many times a buyer has told me, I must have this. But when they walked through the home and the emotion that they felt, all that went out the window. Now, obviously, if you have 5 kids, you can't buy a 1-bedroom house. There are certain things where that absolutely applies. But just remember that what's in their mind might be a feeling or what I call a flavor that they're looking for that can actually be satisfied in other ways. So you don't want to set too strict of criteria. You want to share with them. I always like to share that the best way I can serve them in the very beginning is to help them beef up their market knowledge. And so I let them know I'm going to keep it fairly broad strokes, but I want to set it up on the multiple so that they get any new listings or price changes that fall within that area. Now, as you get down to the nitty gritty and stuff, and there's things you absolutely know, then of course you can refine that. But the number one thing you want to do is get them on a home search. You're going to be notified as well, and I strongly encourage you just to take a moment to open it up and look and see what it is. It's easy not to, especially when you're busy and you're getting lots, but I would definitely do that. Or maybe you can schedule a time or two a week where you're going to sit down and you're going to pull those all up, you know, just search on your internet, on your email, and then walk through all of those, you know, per client.
I get messages from my clients like, hey, did you see that house? I'm like, no, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, right. So it's, exactly, it's just a good idea. Plus, sometimes you'll look at something and go, or you'll look at something and go, oh my gosh, this is good. I'm gonna call them right now and talk to them about this one. So yeah, do watch out for that. You can't always be real narrow There's gonna be things that come up that aren't right for them, but again, turn it into a positive. It's another reason to reach out and discuss things with them. So again, monitoring what your buyers receive from your website and the app through your back office tools. It's through that back office tool that I have that notification, and I know what they're up to. Contact them when you find a property they should see. Likewise, ask them to contact you immediately when they find something they would like to see. You know?
So this is where you get the notifications, is in your back office, so you have to go to your back office to set up that feature.
Yeah, you know, I'm one of these people, good morning, I'm one of these people that I'd have a hard time telling you how to do it, but if I sat down on my computer, I could probably go to it. It's kind of like when you use the dial pad on your phone. I don't honestly remember because it's been set up for a while, but if you'll make a note and talk to me after class, we'll find it together. I have
Okay.
my
All right.
PC with me. Yeah. In order to have a successful home search process, you're gonna focus on finding the right home, showing the qualified homes, and then helping your buyers come to a decision. You know, this is where knowing the market can save time and frustration. So when working with buyers, set the expectation that whenever the buyer sees a home online they really like, it's ideal for them to do a drive-by. That can't happen. That doesn't work in our market a lot of times. There are people on the mainland. Maybe they've been here, you've established a relationship, you've maybe narrowed down the field, the neighborhoods or the complexes if it's a condo, which is great headway, but then, oh dear, they either weren't ready to pull the trigger or didn't find the one, and now they're back on the mainland. So obviously we have a little different set of circumstances than many markets, but whenever possible, if they are here on island, you know, you want to plant that seed. You know, I'm going to put you to work, because when we see things that are good, or you run into things that are good, then I want you to go, you know, run by and check it out, see if it's a decent neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera. Now, generally speaking, that's good advice. Having said that, if I have created a buyer tour and we drive up to it, and it's kind of funny, you know, how some photographers are better than others. It's kind of like, what? Excuse me, what? Or somebody's a really crummy photographer and they have the best listing on your tour, right? You just never know. So I make it a point to do this always. If we pull up and even I know that there is no way, she hates purple and the house on both sides are purple. I say, hey, we are here and I made an appointment and I said there's extreme value in understanding what the market's doing. We don't need to spend more than a few minutes, but let's go in, we'll say hi, take a tour of the property, and you're just gonna have a deeper, stronger understanding of what our market's doing. I've probably sold 5 homes that way, because once we got inside, they really liked it. I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to happen, because I truly do believe that they need to understand what the market's doing too. Our buyers and sellers are very sophisticated these days. So, you know, you jump out and, you know, I explain to them, and it's really true, that there's no real science to it, but if you have seen enough property here and there and the other, when we do find the right one, you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, are gonna go, man, you know, compared to da-da-da-da-da, and then after, yeah, this is a good one. You know, I know you trust me, but I want you to know and understand that this is the right property, so we can move forward with confidence. So, market knowledge can't be overrated, in my opinion. Let's see. Here's a script. So you're going to continue to check periodically to see what your buyers think of the homes they search. And if no homes meet their criteria, you might have to meet with them again to realign their expectations. It's kind of an organic, natural thing that occurs for people. They're going to realize I have to give up something, or I'm not quite ready. That's why I tell people, oh, I don't want to waste your time. I'm not ready to buy yet. It's going to be next year. It's going to be this or that. I'm going, oh, no wasted time. I said, I know if I serve you well, even if we don't do business, you'll refer me business to your friends and family. I'd like to sit down with you because it's my experience and I can help expedite you getting there even faster, right? So, you know, you definitely want to sit with people and and redo. You know, if it turns out they're not quite ready yet, I mean, there's a lot we're gonna be dealing with now, because we're expecting the market to change. Who knows what the interest rates will do, right? I mean, there's so many reasons for buyers to put off buying. Some of those are very valid right now. But it really depends on all the dynamics in their situation. So it's good when it looks like you're off the mark to bring them back into the office and sit down and say, hey, let's just look at where we're at, and given what we've both learned about the market and each other, what's it, you know, is there a better way for us to move forward? Keep the focus on the best home. So here's a script. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, when we do find the right home, we'll need to act quickly. And I know you're going to have that feeling of, well, is there something better out there? But I have to tell you, the best homes sell right away because they are the best homes. Do you want to see all the homes, or do you want to find the right one quickly? That's a pretty good script. If you need to qualify homes that are found online, and when they call because they're excited, you need to, you know, make sure they do understand that you are going to qualify that home and make sure that it can be a good fit for you. So you'll check the multiple to see if it's still available, and compare the features of the homes with your buyer's wish list. I'm pretty sure there is an actual form in here that you can use, and it's a good one, but you might develop your own as well. It's, even if you understand crystal clearly understand what it is they want and need, I recommend you put everything in writing, because when you're sitting down on that second time back in, when things have moved a little bit, you're going to be able to say, well, this is what you've told me. Now, looking through your current lens, having seen a lot of the market now, is there anything here that you would adjust that would work differently? So it's good to have these
5 must-haves.
The 5 must-haves. Yep. I think it might be in here. I'm not sure, but we can find it if not. So after you've checked the MLS and confirmed that it's still available, and compared the features of the home with your buyer's wish list and the 5 must-haves, is it a really good fit, or are the buyers letting an emotional factor cloud their better judgment? If it doesn't seem like a good match to you, take advantage of the opportunity to further fine-tune their wants and needs. Simply asking 2 or 3 questions can save you an hour of time viewing a home that doesn't meet their criteria. You told me that there's nothing more important than having a cul-de-sac because your babies are under 5, and yeah, it's gonna help you feel like you can keep them, whatever that is, right? So, how important is that? Oh, wow, that's true. Wow. You know, things like that. Just discussing and going over stuff.
Yeah, sometimes they'll change that, right? And they're like, oh, that doesn't matter anymore.
Right. If they walk through the door, or they see the house and it just grabs them,
Sign it. Don't bring up the bad. Would you then still bring up the 5 must-haves just for reassurance? Like, hey, you said you wanted
I
to.
don't know if I do in the 5 must-haves, but I would definitely say, now, I don't want you to realize tomorrow that this isn't on a cul-de-sac, you know? Is there enough good here that it's okay for you not to have that? Because most must-haves are,
Preference.
would like to have it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Leverage the trip by checking to see if there are other comparable homes that they might like. So anytime you're going to go out to show them a home, you have time here.
Show 2 or 3.
Correct. Even if they're just drive-bys, because sometimes it's not enough time for you to actually set up an appointment to show. If you can, that'd be great. Sometimes you get lucky. If you can get them into a second or a third at that same time, beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. And it'll help them kind of work through this one that they've got their eye on. It's either going to sell it, or they're going to go, oh, I don't know.
I don't like that one. That one was way better.
Yeah. Let's see, and this is 13.2, there we go.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of mainlanders that come here are shell-shocked at how small houses are here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they go through a depression you know, for your value, you know, in Tennessee, you can get a 4,000 square foot house for $400,000, you know, and then you come here and your kids have been used to having their own rooms, and now all you can afford is a 2-bedroom.
It's always like, oh, good, you're from California. Oh, no, I actually, my appointment this morning was with a family, they're from Nebraska.
Yeah, wow.
And, they're gonna go back to Nebraska. And they only bought, not even a year and a half ago. Thank goodness it's gone up enough where I don't think they're gonna lose much money. But they came over and she just goes, oh, she goes, I cried and cried. We looked at all these houses and they were horrible.
Yeah, they're dumps.
And so they ended up buying over in Milo Court, which is, they're like a nice home, but they're a condominium. They have one
Common wall.
common wall, exactly. And, you know, she goes, well, we're pretty happy in here, but she goes, I just went, oh my gosh. So they're actually, if he gets the job he's applied for, are going to sell and go back to Kentucky, or not Kentucky, Nebraska.
Wow.
And, yeah, so I know, I get that.
Yeah.
I had people recently from Ohio. They went, oh my gosh. But we spend a lot of time outside. It's hard for people that are first here to imagine that, because, you know, they do so much living inside. So hopefully, you know, when you're a caring agent, you can help people through all of that as well, by helping them remember the positive side and, you know, why they moved here, all that good stuff, because it can be tough, I understand. Okay, so, well, we kind of have a choice. You can do this as pairs. We're on page 15. Choose a partner to work with. One is going to be the agent, the other the buyer. Now, do you guys actually, I see one computer.
I have
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I have,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna, log into the MLS and enter the buyer's criteria. So, as a buyer, when you're playing the buyer, you're gonna determine the type of home you'd like to buy, and you can model it after your current home, or a home you've lived in, or your dream home, whatever you'd like. So you're gonna come up with the following criteria. And it's on page 15 here. There's price range, neighborhood or area, number of bedrooms and bathrooms.
Have you taken that MLS class? I
No,
missed
but
it.
oh, okay.
I'm gonna take it.
Okay. Do you know how to use the?
I mean, I know a little bit.
We'll
Okay,
be
then
right
why
back.
don't you be the buyer?
Oh, okay. You want to just use your computer?
Sure, yeah.
So,
You can have mine?
yeah, I'm gonna be one of my buyers, because it's
Oh, good.
bugging me.
Okay.
Alright, so my price